Hi, this is part two on how to learn anything more comfortably and easily. And the first concept that I really want to introduce and touch on is that we have an unconscious mind. We have things that come in, things that our brain has to control, like our heart rate, our breathing, things that we are not consciously thinking about all the time, including different stimuli that we're not consciously paying attention to. So you might notice that you're not always thinking about the feeling of your feet on the floor or the room temperature. Only, when you happen to notice something, does it come into your conscious mind. And so we have filters and we have ways that we can take advantage of the power of our conscious mind and help anchor learnings and get our conscious mind and our unconscious mind to work together better so that you can take advantage of what you're conscious of and use that in your learning, in any training, in any application in which you need to learn material and then apply it to something. So I wanted to give an example of how we really can and should use our unconscious mind and how that has played out in some of my background. When I was in college, actually in high school, I started learning some speed reading techniques from my father. And then in college, he bought me a live course on photo reading. And the idea behind that is really using your foveal vision, which I have another part one of this training talks about that a little bit, about using where you focus and then really using your peripheral vision to relax yourself and to get more straight into your unconscious mind without your conscious mind getting in the way and distracting you. So the idea is you read a book very quickly first by looking at the top of the page, kind of like right in between, and you can look with your eyes, you can tilt your head so that your eyes are looking upward so that it's just above your normal line of sight, and your focus is on the top of the page, and you can hold your hands on the side of the book and also kind of use that as an anchor for where your peripheral vision might pay attention to at first, but your unconscious mind can get images of the page. And so you can go through page by page at first to just kind of get a photo shot in your mind of every page. And then one thing that I was taught to do is, as you're going through page by page, to say, to just kind of have a mantra to also kind of distract your conscious mind. So in my case, I was taught to go through page by page and focus on the top of the page and first tell myself before getting started, okay, my intention is to photo read this material, for it to sink into my unconscious mind and then be available to my conscious mind later for me to get an A on the exam or whatever the case may be, whatever I needed to use it for. And so then I would usually look at the table of contents or the introduction just really quickly to get an idea, the overview of the book. And then open it page by page, look at the top of the page, notice my hands on either side, and say, relax, relax, read the words, see the page, and then go back about 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, and then you start activating. So you more consciously then start looking at some of the words that are on the page. And as silly as that may sound, it got me through college and law school, reading the books and getting through them in a fraction of the time that it would have otherwise taken, and really absorbing the material and using some other tools to integrate the conscious and unconscious mind and make it available to my conscious mind on demand to really do well in college and law school. So it may sound silly, but you do what works. And I have continued to use that in my whole life, really I've had a big reduction in the amount of time that I spend doing things. So that's just a little example of how your unconscious mind is very powerful. You can have methods of really learning things much more efficiently, much more comfortably, And especially if you do take advantage of the power of your unconscious mind and take advantage of that foveal vision technique that I taught in the first session, and then again here, just using where you focus and notice with your peripheral vision, you can have information. It's kind of like a trap door into your brain. So even if you're not reading something, if you're listening, you can pick that spot above your normal line of vision and kind of open up your mind by expanding the peripheral sensations that you're becoming aware of. And so first tip is do that. And then another tip is, just like with the way that I would apply the photo reading techniques, first get kind of the big picture of what is this training about. What, if you're reading a book, look at the table of contents, look at maybe glance over the glossary, or you could also look at the introduction and the conclusion really quickly. It's good to have kind of the high level view of what is this course, what is this book about, what am I expecting to learn, what are my goals for taking this course or reading this book. And you can start kind of flipping through. In the case of taking a digital course, you can listen to everything on double speed, or just kind of have it playing in the background while you're driving or brushing your teeth or whatever. Start letting some of the vocabulary sink in, and start letting some of the concepts sink in without any pressure on yourself to really understand everything right away. And then once you have that context, once you have some familiarity with the jargon, at least on an unconscious level, you then can go back over the book or over the training, and you're acclimated, so you have less resistance, you have more of a context. Your brain has started creating that filing system to start putting pieces of the material into the right places. So then you can listen again, you can read again with a little bit more aim to actually understanding some of the material. So it's a process of maybe going over it twice, sometimes even more, just kind of like layers of an onion, peeling more back, and just not putting pressure on yourself. Just, the goal is every time to learn a little bit more, become a little more familiar. And then once you've gotten through the material on regular speed, and you've actually kind of digested it, another tip is to take notes after every section. So you're reviewing what you just learned, and you're taking notes about what was important to you. You're also taking notes about what questions you have. And then the final step is you want to teach someone else. So you want to help reinforce the learning and encode it in another way. So you're getting, you might have the visual from having written out your summary, and also you'll have a kinesthetic, a feeling of having written out your summary and your questions. And then by teaching someone else, you are getting that encoded with sound. And it might, if you are someone who self-talk is really important to you, and that's an important way for you to learn and encode information, then by teaching someone else, you're encoding it in that representational system also. So I hope that helps. You can apply that to these recordings or to any training that you're taking, whether that is a book that you're reading or a live event, or really for digital courses as well.